This tape should never have been recovered. But if you're hearing this, the truth is already unfolding. Newton, Tesla, their ideas crossed paths in ways no record ever admitted. And if you want to understand what really happened, stay with us. What you're about to see was never meant for the public.
At some point beyond time itself, two minds that were never meant to coexist found each other. The man who revealed the force that keeps planets in orbit, and the man who tried to light the entire world with free energy. This recording was classified, censored, and ultimately forbidden. Nikola Tesla, a man who spoke with lightning and believed the entire Earth could vibrate like an instrument. On the other side, Isaac Newton, the silent alchemist who decoded light, motion, and in the shadows, tried to transmute metals and decipher biblical codes.
Mr. Tesla, you claim to command forces that even lightning itself does not understand. Tell me, what exactly are you trying to awaken?
I do not wish to awaken, but to release. The energy of the world is like a chained beast. I merely loosen the bindings.
Light is the key. Split it, and you see the structure of heaven itself.
Light is only the messenger. The true force is what drives it before it's born.
The two of them step into a realm no scientist had ever dared to enter. A hypothesis so bold it was never written down, never spoken aloud. A fusion of electricity, vibration, and light itself. If proven, it wouldn't just redefine physics, it would rewrite the very blueprint of reality. What they were uncovering was not a formula, but a force, alive, resonant, and terrifyingly powerful.
If the ether exists, then your electrical currents are not the cause, they are the consequence.
And if consequence shapes the cause, then the universe moves in cycles, a cosmic breath.
The law bends.
Now, in this part of the conversation, Nikola Tesla mentions some type of experiment, a project that has never been concluded.
I built a design I could never test, a tower that would make the entire Earth resonate, just as a musician vibrates the string of a violin.
Tesla believed that every object had a natural frequency. If he could find the right one, he could move mountains. Newton, intrigued, asked,
And why did you never test it?
Because the world was not ready to know that a planet can be shattered by rhythm alone.
But now, Newton reveals something even darker.
I too had experiments I never published. Not out of fear, but out of mercy. Light obeys numbers, and certain numbers repeat where they should not, in planetary distances, in musical vibrations, in the shapes of flower petals.
Newton obsessively studied secret patterns in nature. He called them the signature of God.
Then you also see that everything vibrates.
Everything vibrates, but not everything should be revealed.
What you're about to discover bridges science and spirit, a truth that reshapes how the universe moves.
If we connect your light with my electricity,
we may form the first unified description of the forces that move the world.
What you're about to hear does not appear in any official archive. This portion of the recording was considered too speculative, too dangerous.
The Earth breathes in waves. Every mountain, every atom, every heartbeat follows a rhythm, and every human soul is a faint echo of those rhythms.
And if we discover the number that governs that echo,
we could predict not only the motion of machines, but the fluctuations of thought itself. Most people believe electricity is mere power, a tool, a spark, but it is a language, a memory written in the air. Every current that flows through the earth carries a trace of our existence, the trembling of a thought, the weight of an emotion, the unanswered questions of a civilization that has forgotten its own origins. If we listen closely enough, the planet speaks back. I once calculated the resonance so delicate that a single pulse could travel from one continent to another without losing strength. Not to destroy, but to awaken. Awaken the dormant frequencies in human beings. People call it madness, but I call it possibility.
Well, You speak of resonance as if it were the voice of the earth, and perhaps it is. But light is the handwriting of the universe. Divide it, scatter it, interrogate it silently, and it reveals truths older than stars. In my private notes I followed patterns, numbers that curled upon themselves like serpents, ratios that reappeared in planetary distances, in the spirals of shells, in the cycles of comets, and even in the structure of living bodies. There were moments, brief, unsettling, when I sensed that light was not illuminating the world, but remembering it, carrying imprints of creation itself. To study those imprints was to glimpse the machinery behind reality, a machinery not meant for the unprepared mind.
Historians never saw these lines of thought. Scientists never heard these confessions. But here, in this impossible meeting, Tesla speaks as if he were listening to the heartbeat of the Earth, and Newton speaks as if he had deciphered the blueprint of life. One believes the world resonates. The other believes it remembers. Neither of them is entirely wrong. The next section was removed from all official archives, but reconstructed fragments suggest that at this point, Tesla and Newton stopped speaking about machines and began speaking about the human mind itself.
Thought also has mass.
If you wish, call it mass, or call it the inertia of the mind. When a thought is born, it does not remain inside the brain. It is a real disturbance in the medium that connects everything. A tap on the recorder, the reel spins faster. I spent years studying resonance in steel, in towers, in entire buildings. I watched structures tremble when I struck the frequency hidden within them. If stone trembles, if metal trembles, why would the mind not tremble as well?
You claim a thought can be amplified, like a bridge in resonance?
Exactly. You measure the orbit of planets. I ask, what is the orbit of an idea? If every object has a natural frequency, so does every emotion. Fear, devotion, ecstasy, all are patterns vibrating through a living instrument. The static deepens as if the tape itself reacts. My tower was not only for electricity, it was a rehearsal for something far worse, a global apparatus where any mind could be touched the way one touches a distant string, a network not of wires but of frequencies.
A network of consciousness in resonance.
To find the secrets of the universe, think in terms of energy, frequency and vibration. This applies to stars and to thought.
Mr. Tesla, your notion of mental resonance confirms something I never dared to say aloud. When I studied light, I found numbers. When I traced the heavens, the same numbers. And when I examined prophecy, they appeared again.
The same patterns in stars, scriptures and light?
Yes. They call me the father of gravity, yet most of my work lives in documents never printed. I saw nature as a ciphered manuscript. Planetary distances, musical intervals, the spirals of shells and galaxies, all reflected hidden proportions, as if God had signed the cosmos with a single number. When I applied these same patterns to the chronology of history, they pointed to cycles, not a sudden end, but shifts, states of matter turning into new forms, ice, water, vapor. Empires, revolutions, and something beyond both.
You used numbers not only to describe motion, but to foresee tides of collective consciousness.
I suspected that certain alignments in time, like constellations, created windows in which the human mind became more vulnerable to influence. But I never found an instrument capable of touching those windows directly.
That is where our sessions converge, Sir Isaac. You found the numbers. I found the hammer that can make them ring.
You believe your machine can resonate with those cycles?
If a tower can make the earth vibrate, it can, at least in principle, modulate the field in which minds exist, not to read thoughts. That would be trivial, but to shift the mood of an era, to silence a revolution or ignite one.
That is not science. That is liturgy performed with metal and lightning.
Perhaps all science at its edge is merely liturgy with better instruments. Static erupts violently, an intentional erasure.
This portion of the recording has been the subject of endless speculation. Tesla envisioned a global system capable of transmitting not only energy, but emotional states. Newton, meanwhile, spent years mapping patterns woven through planets, music, light, and even prophecy, seeking what he called the signature of God. Here, for the first and only time, their ideas touched. Technicians who reviewed this segment reported nausea, vertigo, and recurring dreams of light and sound they could not describe. Shortly after, this section was officially classified as psychologically hazardous and removed from public release. Static surges. The voices leak through one last time.
Thought has mass.
And frequency.
The meeting ends with one final line, the only part the censors failed to erase.
The most powerful force in the universe is neither gravity nor electricity.
It is the one thing humanity still fears, the power of its own mind.
In the end, their greatest discovery wasn't an equation or a machine. Newton sought the language of light. Tesla sought the music of electricity. And both reached the same conclusion. Everything, absolutely everything, is vibration. You, me, every star, every thought, all resonating in frequencies we barely understand. And if the human spirit truly is indomitable, then maybe our greatest power is the ability to tune ourselves, to shift our state, to resonate higher. Because the energy within us is not random, it can be transformed. It can be transmuted. It can be transmuted. It can be awakened. Remember this: when your frequency rises, reality follows.